Why is the temperature of an at-home sensor different from the official one you see on TV that comes from official sensors? It often comes down to where and how that temperature is measured. If your thermometer is sitting in direct sunlight, it's going to read warmer than it actually is within the air. Dark-colored surfaces like rooftops, decks, or fences absorb more heat and can warm the air right around them. Nearby houses, pavement, or concrete can also add extra radiant heat. Even things like grills, vehicles, or walls can throw off a reading. That's why official temperatures are often measured very carefully. Weather stations use a shaded thermometer not exposed to direct sunlight. The equipment is housed in a white Stevenson screen which reflects sunlight and reduces heat absorption. It's placed about 4 feet above the ground and it's located in an open field far from buildings and pavement. All of that helps measure the true air temperature, not added heat from its surroundings. So remember, if your thermometer says 97 degrees while the official temperature is lower, it doesn't mean the forecast is wrong. It just means your thermometer is feeling the heat being radiated off nearby objects.